India is currently on a trajectory to become a $5 trillion economy. It is recognized globally as an IT powerhouse and serves as the home base for some of the wealthiest billionaires in Asia. Yet, even with these macroeconomic heights, hundreds of millions of citizens remain dependent on government rations for their basic daily survival. This disparity is creating a wealth gap that is effectively splitting the nation into two separate realities that rarely, if ever, intersect. When poverty reaches this level of saturation, it begins to function as a form of political fuel, a resource that powers the very systems meant to alleviate it. Understanding India's trajectory requires looking at the mechanics of this cycle. It is maintained by three specific pillars: politics, education, and healthcare. Living in extreme poverty strips away cognitive bandwidth. When your surroundings look like this, your mental capacity is forced to focus on immediate physical survival. This level of desperation alters how a person interacts with the state. When you aren't sure where your next meal is coming from, you don't vote based on national infrastructure or air quality. You vote for the immediate cash handout, or along the lines of your caste and religion. This survival mode is easily exploited. By focusing on identity politics, leaders transform individual voters into a reactive mob that is much easier to manipulate. This mentality is then weaponized to trigger communal violence. The resulting destruction of local infrastructure keeps the population divided and focused on internal conflict. In this environment, democracy is replaced by the numbers game of the mob. Leaders are rarely held to account for systemic failures because the conversation is always pulled back to identity. Education is usually cited as the escape route from this cycle, but the current system often serves as a way to reinforce existing class divides. In Bihar, the state education budget is 65,000 crores rupees, yet the reality on the ground consists of crumbling classrooms where children sit on bare floors. This creates a mathematical bottleneck. For every 1,000 stable government positions, there are over 100,000 applicants. Students missing the cutoff by a fraction of a percent are told they failed. In reality, the state infrastructure simply doesn't exist for them. Quality instruction is increasingly found only behind the high fees of private coaching. This ensures that competitive advantages remain inherited, while the poor are kept out of the running. Private healthcare acts as the final financial reset button for the working class. A single medical emergency can force a family to sell their land or jewelry, wiping out years of savings and trapping them in generational debt. However, new models of charity-based care are proving that this financial ruin isn't inevitable. They show that life-saving treatment can be provided without predatory margins. This contrast shows the gap between market prices and material costs. An X-ray that might cost hundreds of rupees in a private clinic has a material cost of just 35 rupees. An ECG costs only 25 rupees. This data suggests that the poverty trap is a solvable problem. The current level of extortion continues because the system is designed to prioritize profit over the intent to heal. A soldier is able to fight on the border because they have a guarantee that their family is taken care of back home. They know their children are in school and their parents have access to a doctor. Most citizens are fighting a domestic war of attrition. Their energy is drained by the constant anxiety of the next medical bill or school fee, leaving them struggling to move forward. This creates a massive macroeconomic drag. When a population is focused entirely on survival, they cannot invest in the research and development required for technological independence. By failing to support the lower class, the elite limit the nation's overall growth, forcing a country rich in resources to remain dependent on imported foreign technology. The solution lies in treating healthcare and education as fundamental rights rather than commodities. Providing these basics changes the national psychology. It releases the mental energy of over 1 billion people, allowing their capital to flow into growth rather than survival. This shift triggers an explosion of entrepreneurship as people transition from merely managing their poverty to actively building businesses. Breaking this cycle improves the lives of individual citizens and redefines the economic trajectory of the entire planet.